So when it comes to the ninth generation of video games, I have to ask myself what the point is of getting a console anymore. What is the point? Why even bother? Because consoles are annoying. They are a big hassle. And so recently, I decided to fully make the jump to PC. But why did I decide to make the jump to PC? How did that decision come about? And what am I going to get out of PC gaming that I didn't have access to with console gaming? And so I'm going to explain all of that in this video. Basically, consider this to be a official console versus PC comparison. Why PC gaming is superior and why PC gaming, most importantly, is relevant and it matters. So, as you can see right here, this is my UI for my PlayStation 4. One of the things that I absolutely detest about console gaming is the UI. The PlayStation 4 has one of the worst UIs in the history of video game consoles. It's so bad, actually, that Sony, when they first released this thing, they didn't have a way to separate all your apps. And then eventually they came out with an update where you can put all of your games in a folder. And then you can name the folder and then dump whatever applications you want on there. And so I've personally gone through and updated my my list over time, my folders. I made several folders based on genres. So I have remaster, indie, and fighting, RPG, open world action, RPG, linear action, demos, horror, first person shooter, and everything else. So one of the things that's annoying about this is that I have to go inside each separate folder in order to get to the game that I want to play. And so if I want to play, let's say I want to play Devil May Cry 5, I have to go to the folder where Devil May Cry 5 is located, which is not this folder, and I have to scroll all the way over to the right, and then I can access the game from there. The thing is, once I boot up the game, then I have to quit back out. And the PlayStation 4 with certain games has problems with applications running smoothly. And so one of the most recent games I bought, which is the remake to Destroy All Humans, for whatever reason, that game, will just crash on you, and then it'll throw you back into the UI, the system UI, and then you have to boot the game back up. And this has been an issue with video game consoles for a long time, and I just don't have that problem with really anything on PC. The only game that's really crashed on me is Horizon Zero Dawn, and that only happened one time. Yeah, I really don't have that issue on PCs where games will just randomly crash for no reason. Something else is all this clutter. Now, if you look right there, and so that is a mixture of different cables that's hooked up between my PlayStation 3, my PlayStation 4, and my Xbox One, among other things that I have hooked up over there. And so that's a big problem because all of that clutter, it adds up over time. My PlayStation 3, which I very rarely ever use at this point, if I want to play a game that's not available on PlayStation 4, through normal conventional means, like some of the older Ratchet and Clank games, I gotta play them on PlayStation 3. I gotta keep my PlayStation 3 plugged in, and that just adds to the clutter that's over here. Whereas over here, I don't have that issue. The only thing I have hooked up is my hard drive, which is lying on the floor, which is plugged into the wall because it has to be plugged into the wall, and my power cable, or my power box, my AC adapter. Yeah, that erases all of the clutter, and everything that's wrong with that is just erased completely. Then, also there's physical game boxes, which stack up and pile up, and it just gets annoying to keep up with that shit after a while. Then you have to worry about, getting storage to put all the physical cases in. And we're moving more into the realm of digital media. And so that's something that I've had to get used to over time. But it's one of those things that I didn't really grow up with, obviously. I started gaming back in the mid 90s. And so I'm used to having physical media, physical disc for video games. And when it comes to gaming on console, I still prefer to buy physical media over digital media. And perhaps I'll go more into that discussion some other time. But when it comes to PC, I definitely prefer digital, not just because digital is the only thing that's available, but because it's just easier to keep up with everything that I have purchased. And see, the thing with Steam is that it categorizes everything in alphabetical order automatically. And so every game that you buy is just in this complete list in one place, and you don't have to go through multiple launchers or whatever to get to the game that you want to play. Even if the game requires multiple launchers in order to get the game to run, similar to games such as quite a few of EA's games or Grand Theft Auto, any of the Grand Theft Auto games. So that's another advantage that PC has over console. And the fact that video game consoles, if you don't get rid of the old ones, they just take up more space because of the way backwards compatibility works on console. It gets annoying having to keep up with your old consoles just to play the older games that are not ported over. And basically, you're at the mercy of the console manufacturers who get to choose which games cross over to the new platforms. I already don't like the way that Sony has chosen to do it, because Sony chooses to basically re-release games and force you to rebuy them, similar to what they've done with the Jak and Daxter games. But as a Ratchet and Clank fan, Ratchet and Clank, the older games are only available on PS4 through PlayStation Now, and so that's a big problem. Another thing that's wrong with video game consoles is the online marketplaces. In this case, that's the PlayStation Store. I also don't like the PlayStation Store's UI. It's definitely been improved since the PS3 days, but it's still annoying to navigate. It's just a big cluttered mess, and it doesn't look presentable whatsoever. And they just have way too many links, way too many different separate menus for you to go into, and it's just not as clean as it should be. And then if you want to search a specific game, it becomes even worse. You gotta type in each letter individually, and it just gets annoying. And you don't have that problem on PC because everything is through a keyboard. You can buy separate attachments for your controller, but that's not really an improvement in my humble opinion. So those are some of the some of the reasons why I prefer PC gaming. I now prefer PC gaming over console gaming, but that's not all. To further demonstrate why PC gaming is actually more convenient than console gaming, I have Horizon Zero Dawn running here on my laptop, and I'm just still stuck at my UI for the PlayStation 4. I'm going to basically demonstrate why this is more convenient playing this game on PC versus its console counterpart. And one of the main reasons, or one of the main ways rather, that it's more convenient is this little guy. This is an adapter. It's a wireless adapter. I got it off of Amazon. You can use it on PS3, PC, and Nintendo Switch. And basically what it is, it allows you to connect a separate controller to one of those platforms to use it. To use that separate controller on that platform. I have my DualShock 4 here. And so now I'm playing the game on PC on my laptop wirelessly with that. And that only cost me about $20, tops. And so now I'm going to change the AV setting on my TV. And let's say, I don't want to look at this 15-inch screen while I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn. I take an HDMI cable, and I simply plug that HDMI cable into the side of my laptop. And now I am playing Horizon Zero Dawn on PC through my TV screen. I'm going to go to continue, And the loading is much faster. That's something else that I've noticed with a lot of different video games. The loading is far faster on PC than it is on console, which is another added bonus. One of the main selling points of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X is that the loading will be faster, but PC gamers have already experienced faster loading times and have been doing so for years. So that's not really a selling point in general, and especially not a selling point for people like me. If you just game solely on console, then I can see why faster loading would be a selling point. But spending $500 just to get faster loading times is a bit ridiculous, if you ask me. And so now the game is booted on my TV, well, on my laptop, and the picture is being projected to my TV. And I can do different things on my laptop here. If I want the sound to come out of... If I want my sound to come out of my laptop, you know, I can switch the audio. And so now the sound's coming out of my laptop versus my TV screen, and then I can flip it back. I can change it back. So now I'm back with the audio being played through my TV screen. So there's just different things like that that are really easy to access, and it's a lot more convenient than console. And of course, there's graphical options. Now, all of this is medium, but if I want to switch to ultra quality, I can apply that. And still enjoy the game with ultra settings, if I care to do such a thing. And so, just convenience, extra options that are not available on console. These are some of the reasons why PC gaming is superior to console gaming. And these are some of the reasons why it's a more convenient platform to play on. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm making the jump to PC pretty much almost exclusively in the 9th generation. So one more thing I want to demonstrate is emulation. This is another thing that PC gaming has over console gaming. It's the fact that no video game is ever out of your reach. If a game is not ported to next generation hardware and it's just forgotten, it will always be available more than likely through emulation on PC. I have I actually have 3 emulators up on my laptop. One's a PlayStation 2 emulator, which is what this is, PCSX2. I have a GameCube emulator right here, Dolphin GameCube emulator, and then I have one for the PSP. So I'm just going to briefly demonstrate both emulators, PCSX2 and the GameCube emulator. And so I can play games like Dragon Ball Z, Budokai Tenkaichi 3, a game that's basically been forgotten. And this is just an example of old games being made available again through emulation that otherwise would have been forgotten. And with me, this game in particular, I consider this to be one of the best Dragon Ball Z games when it comes to this particular anime series. So, this game would have never been ported to next generation hardware, but I can still play it anytime I want, thanks to the ISO being available, online. So that's one example. Of course, I can just close that out. Then there's the GameCube emulator that I have right here. Right now, I have 3 games. One of them's The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, Metroid Prime 1 and 2. I'm gonna boot up Metroid Prime. All right, had to get down the controls, but this is another game that it's never going to be available on online marketplaces like Steam. Nintendo doesn't release any of their games on Steam or any online marketplaces, so a lot of their older games are just forgotten. And this is another example, another advantage that PC gaming has over console gaming, where you can access older games that otherwise would be forgotten. Fantastic games like Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, Metroid Prime. And so the game is perfectly playable. And like I said, emulation is just another reason why PC is the dominant platform. Combine this with a massive online marketplace like Steam, and combine it with sales from different various online marketplaces like Fanatical or Green Man Gaming. You never have to worry about backwards compatibility whatsoever. That makes different services like Xbox Game Pass just irrelevant. And so that's my demonstration of emulation. One of the best advantages that PC gaming has over console gaming is the ability to access, basically mod any game that's available on PC. And this is a big advantage for multi-platform games, because you can see all the various ways people can play around with games that are multi-platform that are also available on console. And console players can see what they're missing out on, because they're playing on a closed platform where modding is not allowed. Microsoft here and there, they have allowed publishers like Bethesda to allow mods for players to mod their games on console. It's happened before, but it's not a common thing whatsoever. And Sony doesn't allow any modding of any kind. And so this is something that's mainly exclusive to PC. And people, will go in and create these mods and basically do all sorts of crazy shit with these games. Here's one for Resident Evil 3. Someone created a pajama outfit for Jill, the Jill Valentine character, and I thought that was pretty funny. And then there's another one from the same game. Someone created a blonde, long hair, basically almost like a skin for Jill. And so this is some of what mods allow you to have access to. Here's one from Resident Evil 2, the Resident Evil 2 remake. Someone created a Captain Marvel outfit for Jill Valentine. Oh, and they gave Leon a Taskmaster suit. That's interesting. Here's another one from Final Fantasy 15, which anyone who knows the history of that game, Final Fantasy 15 used to be Final Fantasy Versus 13, which became Final Fantasy 15. If you look at the trailer for Final Fantasy Versus 13, Noctis is wearing a different outfit than what they ended up giving him in the final version of Final Fantasy 15, and so someone modded in his Versus 13 outfit for the PC version of Final Fantasy 15, which is something that isn't available on console. Square Enix never put that costume into the game, and so that was an interesting one. And then you have another example is here with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Someone has gone in through every single cutscene in the game and added the Bruce Falconer music. And the Bruce Falconer music is basically music from the American version of Dragon Ball Z when it originally aired, and the show was originally airing in the late 90s and early 2000s. And that's another example of how modding can give you a different experience. And so modding is a very useful tool if you're bored of a game and you've basically exhausted all of the content. You can go back and make your own content or use someone else's content if you know how to access it. And this is something that's just out of the reach of console games because once again, the major console manufacturers, Sony and Microsoft, they don't really allow modding on their platform. So that's just another advantage of PC gaming. Now, going into my final point here as to why PC gaming is far superior to console gaming. First of all, when it comes to PC gaming, it doesn't get anywhere near as expensive as console gaming. With console gaming in general, if you don't buy a whole lot of different add-ons like HD cameras and media remotes and all that shit, then you end up saving a lot of money in the long run. But here and there, you may have to buy a separate controller, a new controller, and controllers in the modern day are too expensive for what they are. They're going up in price again for the 9th generation of video games, and so the PlayStation 5 quote-unquote DualSense wireless controller is going to be $70 at retail, brand new, and you won't be able to get them any cheaper than that unless they go on sale, like on Amazon Prime Day or Black Friday or something like that. These new controllers will be $70 at retail, brand new. If they come out with, and eventually I'm sure they will, if Sony comes out with separate colors or a special themed controller like a camouflage controller or whatever, they'll probably raise the price by anywhere from $10 to $20. So that's almost $100 for a fucking video game controller, and that's just beyond ridiculous. And then there's the Nintendo Switch controllers. You have the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Con controllers are fucking $80, which is actually more expensive than the upcoming DualSense. That's just I just don't understand that. $80 for a video game controller? Like, really? And then you have the Pro controllers, and the Pro controllers are the Pro wireless controllers are $70 at retail. The Xbox Series X controller is still $60, and even that, once again, is still too expensive for a video game controller. A video game controller shouldn't cost any more than $40, plain and simple. You don't really have to worry about that with PC gaming because you can just use an older controller. I have 2 working DualShock 4 controllers myself. You can just buy an older controller and just stick with that on PC. Or if you prefer to use a mouse and keyboard, you can do that too. They call it PC gaming for a reason. And then another great point is these online marketplaces. When you game on console, if you're on Xbox, you have to go through the Xbox Live Marketplace. If you're on PSN, then you have to go through the PlayStation Store. Those are your only options as far as any type of digital marketplace when it comes to purchasing video games, if you're playing on console. Whereas if you play on PC, you got Fanatical, which is the best place to buy video games from, in my opinion, given all of the pro-consumer sales that they do and how frequent they are. You have Steam, You have Green Man Gaming, you have the Epic Game Store, and the list goes on. But I mainly buy my games on PC through Steam and Fanatical. Fanatical, most of the keys that they sell, the keys being the code or whatever that you get to activate the game through your chosen digital launcher. My chosen digital launcher is Steam, and so most of the games that you buy on there, they'll give you the code to access the game on Steam, and they'll show you when you're on the website before you go to purchase a game where the code where the game will be available once you use the code. In this case, Star Wars Squadrons, which they have a discount of 8% discount. This is playable on Origin if you buy the game here on Fanatical. Of course, you can buy the same game on Steam. One of the main things that these websites do is that they'll have series sales and then they'll have publisher sales. The publisher sales is basically every major game released under a specific publisher. So, for example, here you have Bethesda. They're known for Doom, Prey, Dishonored, the Elder Scrolls series, Fallout, and so The Evil Within, Wolfenstein, all that. And so, okay, so yeah, there's a discount for the Elder Scrolls Online. It will usually tell you when the sale is going to end. And these are deep sales. They'll take more than half off, depending on what the publisher decides to sell the game for. And it'll be for a limited amount of time, so you have to capitalize on the opportunity to get games on sale while they're on sale. Steam does the same thing, and one of the sales they're doing right now is for Blaze Blue, Central Fiction. And similar to Fanatical, it'll give you a time as to when the sale ends. Any additional content, DLC, it'll show up in a list here, and then you can add the DLC to your cart and purchase it all together. Or you can just purchase an entire collection of, which includes the game and all of the DLC for a larger price. But usually it's only by a few dollars. So if I just want the game, all I have to do is spend $8 to get the game. If I want the game plus the DLC and all of the, the add-ons and all that, all I have to do is spend $15. That's only, $7 more over the previous offering. And so you go up on these websites and you see all these deals that they do. Here's another one, the Dying Light franchise, up to 78% off. It's very rare to see a sale like this that's this pro-consumer on console. The PlayStation Store will not do sales like this unless it's like the holidays, like around Christmas time. That's really the only time that you'll see something like that on the PlayStation Store. PlayStation Store does have sales similar to what you see when it comes to these online marketplaces for PC, but they're nowhere near as pro-consumer as this. The same goes with Xbox Live. One of the main selling points of the Xbox Series X, once again, is Xbox Game Pass. And of course, Xbox Game Pass is another service that they've made available for PC gamers. Again, it just completely invalidates any reason, to go out and spend money on an Xbox when just about everything they're offering on Xbox you can just get on PC. If I want access to Xbox Game Pass on PC, I have that option. I have multiple different online marketplaces that do weekly sales, weekly publisher sales, or weekly franchise sales, deep sales of popular modern video games. They have good refund policies on Steam. If you own a game, I believe, I don't know the specific time, I believe it's for 24 hours. I'm not exactly sure. But if you own a game for a few hours or whatever, you can refund it on Steam if you don't like it, and they'll give you your money back. And that it doesn't work like that on console. Trying to get a refund specifically on PlayStation, on the PlayStation platform, that will get your account banned. and there goes all your trophies and all of that, all your your entire digital library if you do get banned on PlayStation. And that leads me to my final point as to why PC gaming is superior to console gaming and why I'm making the jump almost exclusively to PC is this terms of service for both PlayStation Network and Xbox Live. And I want to specifically go to the part where it talks about termination of your, of the service, because that sort of thing falls into a very gray area. So I'm on the support page for PlayStation right now. If I go to request a refund, they got support bots, so you're not actually talking to anybody. You're talking to an AI, and if you need a refund on the PlayStation Store, this is how they want you to go about it. If you go to your bank and try and force a refund, they will ban your account, and that's something that you don't have to worry about on PC. And here's the important information right here when it comes to these online services on console. Suspensions on PlayStation Network. They have a community code of conduct, and no one really ever thoroughly looks through this. They have all these bullet points of what you're not allowed to do when you're using PlayStation Network. You may not manipulate or inflate usage of PlayStation Network services. You may not engage in deceptive or misleading practices. A statement like that is very vague. Very vague. There's nothing in depth about that statement whatsoever. You may not abuse or harass others, including stalking behavior. Of course, things like this happen all the time in online gaming. They don't really monitor any online servers or anything unless someone is reported. And quite often, if you're reported on PlayStation Network, odds are you're not the person who started whatever the case is. You're not the one who took action first. Usually it's the other person who's the problem. You may not take any action or upload, post, stream, or transmit any content, language, images, or sounds in any form, communication, public profile, or other publicly viewable areas, or in the creation of any online ID at Sony and its affiliates in their sole discretion find offensive, hateful, vulgar, or that it deems racially, ethnically, religiously, or sexually offensive. All these things is basically it's up to a case by case basis. You may not organize hate groups. You may not transmit any content that contains any viruses, worms, spyware, time bombs, or other computer programs that may damage or interfere with or disrupt PlayStation Network services. And so if you look through a lot of these can be broken down because they're very vague. And so basically you can get suspended or banned straight out for a wide variety of different things. And I promise there's a lot of people, thousands of people, that probably break these rules every single day. But Sony doesn't really take notice of it until, once again, someone is reported. If you are suspended on PlayStation Network, or if you find yourself in a position where you've been permanently suspended on PlayStation Network, you no longer have access to your content library. Every game that you've bought digitally on the PlayStation Store, you no longer have access to. You no longer have access to PlayStation Plus, even if you're a paying member for the service. They will cut your service off. And then on top of that, the only way to get unsuspended is to appeal your suspension. And basically, this is up to a safety team or whatever that works for PlayStation. And they have criterias for this. Your account must be located in either the Americas or Europe. So basically, fuck other, third world countries. Fuck Japan, which is where PlayStation comes from, right? So if you get a permanent suspension in Japan, you're just fucked. You got to start your account all over again. Goodbye to your digital library. Goodbye to all your trophies that you've accumulated over time. Goodbye to any subscriptions that you have on the system. This is what I'm talking about when I say that PC gaming is better, because you don't have to worry about this kind of shit. The only way really to get suspended or banned, like on a website like Steam, is if you're cheating. And if you're cheating, well, you brought it upon yourself. But you don't have to worry about dealing with online trolls or anything like that. Good example would be games like Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11 on console does not have a mute option, so whenever you're paired up with someone, if they have a microphone and it's a troll, there's no way for you to shut them up other than muting your TV so to where you can't hear even the game that you're playing. Versus the PC version of Mortal Kombat 11, where even if the other person does have a microphone, you can't hear them. Their voice doesn't come through your system, and the only way that you can hear them is if you have a microphone yourself and you choose to hook it up to the game. If you are dealing with the troll and you decide to do that on PC, whatever happens as far as the fallout of that goes, it's really your fault. But you don't have to worry about being suspended or banned and losing access to all of your content, all of your hard work. You don't have to worry about any of that like you have to on console. And this is on top of the fact that when it comes to gaming online, online multiplayer on PC, you don't have to pay a subscription to Steam in order to play video games online with other people, or any other launcher for that matter. There's no such thing as paying for multiplayer when it comes to PC. This is one of the main reasons why PC is superior to console. And Xbox has the same nonsense. They have a code of conduct just like Sony. They have policies on piracy, pirating games on Xbox, although there's ways around that where, say, like on Xbox One, I had a friend years ago who bought Steam through his mom's account or whatever, and he was able to share the game. Actually, he was able to just straight out give the game to me digitally. I was able to, using his password, I was able to play Doom for free. That falls into that gray area when it comes to piracy. But when it comes to straight up getting suspended, I mean, obviously you have the typical stuff like don't participate in any DDoS attacks, don't abuse Microsoft or Xbox staff, verbally or in text. Don't try and manipulate Xbox services. Don't engage in terrorism. The typical shit. And here's where they talk about suspensions and different restrictions if you violate their terms of service, including the restrictions of use of online multiplayer games or online multiplayer in general, the removal of the ability to send text and voice messages on Xbox, blocking real-time voice communication and text communications on Xbox, preventing the broadcast of live gameplay, basically streaming, restrictions on the use of parties, blocking the ability to upload game clips and screenshots to Xbox Live, restrictions on Kinect, which I don't even know why they still have rules on Kinect because Kinect is no longer a thing. Removal of inappropriate content from Xbox Live, automatic assignment of a new gamer tag, which can fuck with your achievements and all that. Then you have repeat or severe offenses in which they could, permanently suspend a profile or the device in total. If they suspend the device, it's like, well, you just wasted hundreds of dollars on an Xbox, and you don't have once again these problems or whatever on PC. And if you look at the rules and guidelines for Steam, they have a lot of the same policies as Sony and Microsoft, obviously, but there's less fear of a possible suspension or ban on PC versus console. And one of the main reasons for that is because you're not under one specific like manufacturer. Because all Steam really is a launcher. It's an online marketplace. But there's other launchers that you can play games on, not just on Steam. The most trouble I can see anyone really running into when it comes to Steam, when it comes to online, violations or anything, would be cheaters, people who cheat. And you have games that are enabled with anti-cheat software, where the game will detect if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing while playing it. At which case, whatever happens is on you. But the fact that you can spend hundreds of dollars on a video game console, and the manufacturer, be it Sony or Microsoft, whatever, can completely just negate your access to the content that you pay for, and the fact that you're a paying, a willing paying participant on their platform. That's something that didn't sit well with me the more I looked into it, because I have been suspended on PlayStation Network, dealing with trolls, playing different games, well, mainly playing Mortal Kombat. And I also have been suspended for absolutely no reason, where I would log on and Sony just said, fuck you, you don't have access to really anything. I couldn't go on the PlayStation Store. I couldn't play any video games online. I couldn't use my PlayStation Plus subscription. I couldn't do anything. And that's the main reason why I decided to permanently make the jump to PC. PC wasn't something that I just made. It wasn't a decision I made overnight. It was something that I thought long and hard about, and I eventually came to the conclusion that after experiencing what PC has to offer, PC is it's far superior to console for a variety of different reasons, many of which I already explained in this video, and I didn't even go over the fact that PCs are upgradable with various components, graphics cards and different monitors and all that, that console gaming just doesn't have access to, because console gaming is a closed platform. PC gaming is an open platform, so there's upgrade options on PC, whereas on console, those options are either non-existent or they're extremely limited. But most of the time they're non-existent. There's nothing you can do to upgrade a console aside from its extended storage. Yeah, those are the main reasons why I decided to make the jump almost exclusively, completely to PC. The last console game that I plan to buy is Cyberpunk 2077, and I will also be purchasing the PC version of the game. That will be the last console game I buy that's not a console exclusive. And yeah, I'm just done with console gaming. I don't like Sony and their policies for the PlayStation Network. I don't like their customer service. That's another thing. If there's a problem that you have with PlayStation, if you call their customer support line, it's like talking to a brick wall. PlayStation's customer support number is 800-345-7669. If you call that number, it's a goddamn challenge just to get a support agent over the phone, and then the support agent would have been trained to basically be as unhelpful as possible. Not sure how it is on Xbox, because I haven't been like active on Xbox since the 360 days, so I'm not sure how their customer support is as far as the quality of it compared to PlayStation. But Sony is just absolutely terrible with their customer support. It's just another reason why I really don't give a shit about the PlayStation 5. All of these points that I'm making as to why PC gaming is superior, it's all relevant. All of it. If you have the money and the time, you don't have to build a gaming PC. You don't have to buy different components or whatever and have all this knowledge to build a gaming PC. If you want to do that, you can. But realistically, you can just buy a gaming PC that's pre-built, that has all the components available in it, and do what you need to do with it. And like with me, I prefer a gaming laptop specifically because you can take them with you wherever you want, and they don't use up as much electricity as say a desktop. They have 4K laptops, gaming laptops now, i7 processors. They have DDR6, which is the same technology that's in the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. They got 15-inch screens, 14-inch screens, 17-inch screens, Windows 10, 20 series graphics cards. I saw some online that have the new 30 series graphics cards. You also have access to different manufacturers, which include MSI, Dell, Asus, HP. The list goes on. They got 16 gigabyte ROM, 32 gigabyte ROMs, i9 processors. Of course, laptops like that are going to be extremely expensive for the overall price. With online services like Pay Tomorrow, you can pay a low monthly fee, and they'll send you the product, and then you just pay it off over time, and it's just a monthly bill. And so PC gaming is a lot more convenient and easy to access than people think. And because of all of the advantages PC gaming has over console, that's why I'm deciding to make the jump. Because I'm not spending $70 on a controller, every time I turn around and one of them goes haywire and it decides that it doesn't want to work anymore, and I have to get another one and I have to put all that money down. I don't want to go through the hassle of having my account suspended or whatever, and lose access to all of my digital games, or potentially be permanently banned. And so I just wasted my time building up my account over the years on PlayStation or Xbox. I have access to different sales, all these different pro consumer sales on these different websites when it comes to what PC has to offer. And as I showed earlier, it's just a lot more convenient to play video games on PC versus console, especially if you have a gaming laptop, given you can move the laptop, wherever you want, versus a desktop that, where it has to remain stationary in one place. So that is all I got for this video, and I have about 4 or 5 more of these planned, something like that. And for now, this is the longest one, but the other ones will be shorter in length by comparison. So when it comes to the topic of PC gaming versus console gaming, PC is superior. That's just fact. There's no beating PC gaming.